Welcome back to the Wizard's backyard, actually. This video today is about some of the dumbest car purchases I've ever made in my life. They are really stupid. Let's get started. So I actually have 8 vehicles. There's probably more than 8. If you've seen a video we've done in the past, there was like, what is there, 40 or 50 cars, Mrs. Wizard?
Oh, 50, and you're up to 60 or 75 by now.
Crazy. So I could go for a lot longer than just 8 cars. But these are 8 right off the top of my head that really are really fresh. They're really like so stupid that it didn't take much thinking to think of them. And the first one is a 1983 Jeep Cherokee Chief. It was actually kind of a goldish brown in color. It was actually fairly nice, and it ran good, and it didn't have a whole lot of serious issues. At the time, they weren't all that valuable. They were worth a couple grand or something. They weren't worth a lot. This is many years ago, keep in mind. I bought it from a friend at work. I brought it home, and I thought I would be slick and do an engine swap. This was my first engine swap many years ago. Keep in mind, I wasn't the car wizard at that time. I was just getting into my game. I was still learning a lot, and I had a lot of learning to do. What ended up happening is I got the engine in, I started hacking the frame and hacking stuff up, and I ended up ruining this really pretty nice Jeep Cherokee Chief. It got to the point where I was over my head, and I just really didn't know where to go with it. I pulled the engine out. It was actually a Ford 5.8 351 I was going to put in it. I pulled the engine back out, sold it, and I scrapped the Jeep. If I would have only known back then that those things would be $30,000 today, I should have kept it original, and I'd have something today. But no, I ruined it. Another thing to keep in mind as we go along, as I go to the next ones, is that all these mistakes I've made in the past are how I'm able to share with you guys through my videos of what you should or shouldn't do, because I've made all the mistakes. I give you guys information to help you not make the same mistakes. So the next one is a 2003 Pontiac Aztek. It was blue in color, and we all know these aren't very pretty cars. It's actually a car that comes from filming season 3 of Car Issues with Hoovy's Garage, or Tyler Hoover. We were done with it, we're done filming, and I said, hey, I'll buy it. I mean, it needed a lot of work. It really wasn't worth a whole lot, but I knew my employee, Junior Mint, needed a car. The AC didn't work, the struts were bad, and the CV shafts were bad, but otherwise, it ran and drove just fine. And I figured, I'll buy this car cheap. I'll give it to Junior Mint. He can fix those few things that it needs, and actually may have a decent car that he can haul his family around with. He had been a very good employee up to this time. Everything was going fine. But all of a sudden, things were not so well anymore. His quality started to drop off. And it was just a few weeks later, he actually quit on me. Maybe he's going through some life changes or things. I'm not mad at him. I understand. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of learning to do. But it was kind of dumb. It's like, I bought this car. I gave it to you. And you quit on me. Okay. Well, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have bought the car. That was kind of a dumb purchase. So number 3 is a 1995 Jaguar XJ6. It was actually green in color. This is back before really Hoovy's Garage and Car Wizard and all these things were going on. This is when I had my little shop in Halstead. It was just me and Crazy D, and really it was a small little outfit at that time. But Tyler had went to auction. This thing came up for sale and nobody wanted it. He just felt really bad for it. It was a running and driving XJ6, but it just needed so much interior work and a lot of different things. I think he bought it for like $600 or something, or $700. He's just like, I have to buy this because it's a running and driving Jag. Why? And he bought it. We fixed a few things. We got it running and driving, and Tyler was done with it. He was like, well, I think I'm going to get rid of it. Mrs. Wizard really loves Jags, especially that era. So I said, hey, I'll buy it. I'll give you what you paid for it, maybe a little extra, and Mrs. Wizard can drive it. Well, we got it. She drove it around. The interior was kind of ratty. It needed so much work, suspension work, and it was going to be more money than really we wanted to put into it. So I got the bright idea and traded it for a 1960s Mark Twain boat. And we used the boat one time and sold it for a loss. That was really stupid. That was our first boat restore, the first time we got into boating or anything to do with boats at all. We actually went on the lake, and the kids really didn't care for it too much. It was a small little boat. We pulled it back out of the water, took it home, and never used it again. Now I look back at it and it's like, why did I even buy the country jag? We called it the country jag because we drove it around in the country. I don't know, that was pretty dumb. Number 4 is a 1984 Cadillac Eldorado. But that car is really not the one that was a stupid purchase. It was what I did with it, because it was actually a decent car. It was in decent shape. It needed a headliner and everything, but it ran good. At the time, I think I paid $4,000 for it. I got the wise idea that I would trade it for a 1989 Mercedes 560 SEL that had been wrecked in the front. They hit a deer. I thought, I'll fix this up and I'll have a car that's worth more than the Caddy was. Also remember that I wasn't that great of a mechanic at the time. I was still young. I got it home, started pulling stuff apart, and I saw that whatever they hit, it was a lot worse than what they said. The frame horns or whatever that were the engine mounts, or the bumper mounts too, were actually bent like this. And there was so much damage that I ended up I pulled the powertrain out, the engine and transmission. I actually still have those. I scrapped the rest. Total loss. That was stupid. Very, very stupid. So Hoovie's Garage talks about this dumbest automotive YouTube channel. He makes stupid buys and this and that. No, I've got Tyler beat on stupid buys. I guarantee it. But we're not done yet. We have 4 more to go. This next one's kind of funny. This is before I even met Mrs. Wizard. I was with my first wife. I'm not really going to go into details about all that stuff, but I was young. I just got out of the Army. I had a 1983 Volkswagen Rabbit. It was baby blue in color. And although I'd been a mechanic in the Army, I'd worked on heavy equipment, I didn't know much at that time about cars, gasoline cars. I had just got out of the Army. This is over 20 years ago. This is way before Car Wizard or any kind of wizard antics going on. I drove it around for 1 or 2 months. The fuel pump kept acting up. I could hit it and knock it with a wrench and it would come back alive. Sometimes I had electrical problems. It would just kind of go to like a light bulb going dim. All the dashes, everything would go dim and it would die and leave me stranded, and it would start back up a minute later. After 2 months of that, I got so tired of it. One day it quit on me. I coasted into a gas station, which is about 2 miles away from my parents' house at the time. It quit on me for the last time, I said. I got it parked. I called the local salvage company. I said, hey, I just so happen to have the title with me actually for this car. Come and get it. They're like, what's wrong with it? I said, the fuel pump keeps pissing me off and there's other electrical problems. They're like, okay, we'll come out. So they sent the tow truck, and actually the tow truck driver was like, hey man, this thing's pretty clean. Are you sure you don't want to try to fix it? Or I said, bro, I'm done. I said, here's the title, here's the keys, I've already signed it. I said, get this thing out of here. He said, okay. And I walked to my parents' house. So I got to their house, I knocked on the door, and he was like, well, what are you doing here, and where's your car? I said, oh, the car's at the junkyard. I called him and hauled it off. I got tired of it. Do you want to give me a ride to my house? He's like, okay, that was really stupid. What are you going to do now? I was like, go buy another car or something? I don't know. At the time, also was young and stupid. So the car gave me trouble, it pissed me off, and I junked it at the junkyard. And it probably would have been an easy fix at the time, and it would have been a good car. It was clean. It was so stupid of me. Dumb. Number 6 is an actual 1960s Riviera camper trailer. And not a car, but a camper trailer. A 1960s Riviera camper trailer. We had actually bought Abby. It turned out very well. We were very happy with it. We thought, let's duplicate this and buy another one. So we bought another one. It had a little bit of rot damage. This one was a little longer, a little bigger. We thought it'd have more room, it'd be more comfortable. We got it home and pulled the sheet metal or the sides off, and the wood was so rotten. It was bad. And it was full of pack rats. I mean, like 20 or 30 of them. It took me a few weeks with lots of rat traps out to catch all these things and take care of them and kill them, because I don't want them in my house or in my cars. So we brought home pack rats. We brought home a trailer that was almost not fixable. We tried to fix it. We put new wood. We put the skins back on and everything, and we thought we were making good headway. And we kind of had a question, should we continue with this thing or not? And the answer was given to us a few days later. A giant windstorm came with over 100-mile-an-hour straight line winds. I think they call them a Direcco or something like that, where it came out of the clouds straight down onto our hay barn that we had. Over 100 miles an hour. It knocked the roof off the hay barn, and the roof fell under the trailer and crushed it like matchsticks into pieces. So me and Mrs. Wizard looked at each other and said, well, I guess there's our answer. What did we pay for that thing? Like $600 or something?
Something 800, not a lot.
That was a total loss. That was stupid. If I'd have known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have even gone out to look at the trailer, but oh well, it is what it is. Number 7 is 1994 S10 Blazer. And again, not so much about the Blazer, but what I did with it. I bought it not running. I fixed it. It had fuel injection problems. It was a running, driving S10 Blazer again. And about 4 hours away, there was a 1950 Oldsmobile Rocket 88 for sale. And I thought that would be so cool. So I traded the S10 Blazer for the 88. I got it home. It was so rusted and so bad. I decided I'll pull the motor, everything, and I'm going to LS swap it. That's what I'll do. I sold the motor drivetrain off, which was running fine. I started trying to weld and patch the panels, and I got to looking and found it was way, way worse than I thought. I got so frustrated and so fed up with it that I called Crazy D at the time. He was just my friend. He wasn't working for me yet. I said, hey, do you know anyone that wants this thing? He found someone that bought it for like $800. I sold it to him. I think I broke even. I didn't really lose any money. But it was like all that work to get the S10 Blazer gone for nothing. I ended up with nothing. It was, what a waste of time. I'm telling you guys, I have experience in the stupid buys. So when I tell you guys things on a video, it's with experience, not just me talking. And the final one, number 8, is a 1989 Pontiac Grand Prix. It was white in color. This is also when I was with my first wife. We were living in an apartment complex. They had rules that you cannot take apart cars or have stuff apart in the parking lot, or they will be very upset with you. And they were kind of sticklers, and they were kind of jerks. They really weren't very nice at all. The clutch was burned out of this Grand Prix. I bought it for $400. I thought, I'll fix the clutch and I'll have a good car. So I didn't pay attention to the rules. I didn't follow the rules. So I got the car home, got into the parking lot, pulled the transmission out through the wheel well and set it aside. It took me hours to get it. I had the new clutch set out, ready to go back together. I was going to have it done by the end of the day. And the apartment management came by in a van, and the lady was screaming at me. She said, I tell you what, you've got 30 minutes to get the wheels back on that car and get it moved or do something with it, or we're going to tow it off. I said, I can't have this back together in 30 minutes. I've got it all apart. She says, let me repeat myself. In 30 minutes, we are having a tow truck come to get your car. And you guys know I don't put up with that kind of stuff. I immediately handled that problem. I said, well, here's the keys. Here's the title. It's yours. She's like, well, I don't want it. I said, you're going to get it because I can't put it back together in 30 minutes. I said, it's yours. They came with a tow truck and they towed it off, and I never heard about it again. I lost $400. I wish I could have had a little bit more time. They were going to tow it, but by the time they would have towed it and I paid to get it out of towing, it would have been that much again just to get it out of towing. So I was like, you know what? Here, lady, you just got yourself a free car today that's in pieces. Good job. Where that car went, I don't know. I really threw that lady for a loop when I handed her the keys. She was like, what am I supposed to do with this? I said, tow it. It's yours. Okay. And that was really stupid. That could have been a running car. I shouldn't have brought it into the parking lot. Maybe I could have stored it at a friend's house or something, but also before we met, Mrs. Wizard had an 89 Grand Prix that the head gaskets blew on, so neither one of us have had great luck with the 89 Grand Prix. Anyways, that's 8 stupid buys that ended up with total loss, or I didn't make any money, or it was just complete waste of time altogether. Maybe some of you guys can comment in the comment section some of the crazy buys that you've come across, or some of the crazy things that you've done. I've learned a lot over the years. I still make mistakes here and there, but for the most part I'm usually trading up or doing things that make a little bit more money. I'm not just handing people keys or telling them to tow this car off. I don't do that anymore, luckily. But if you're curious what kind of tools that I use to fix some of the projects I get now, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more sweet videos to come. Thanks for watching.